Hey guys, my name is Shayla. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, we talk about motherhood, we talk about pregnancy. We do things kind of eco-friendly, kind of natural, kind of granola. I'm shifting my channel a little bit to like mindset stuff because I'm learning that is huge when it comes to motherhood. That's coming. If you're into that kind of stuff, please subscribe. If you're not new here, welcome back. I have a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and I am 30 weeks pregnant with our third. Good golly, I'm just feeling it, man. I just am feeling it. Before we start, I also made a thought prompt flip book. So this is for a positive mindset in motherhood. So if you need just daily reminders, all of these questions are geared towards having you find the positive in your life. Because I remember with my first, and even like now some days, I just get stuck in this like negative loop. Sometimes you just need a question to shake you out of it. What makes me feel calm and present, so that you can be like, what does make me feel calm and present? For me, it's music. Just a little bit of music in the background. My sister cannot stand that. It's too much noise. I love I can kind of cling to that music and just like calm down even when there's chaos in the house. What things trigger low mood and negative feelings, and how can I manage that? It talks about partner stuff, so you can think about the things that you do love about your partner. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. I need to blow my nose. Today, I want to talk to you about partner resentment. This is coming from a place of having extreme partner resentment where I was like, it must be nice to be able to go to work, to now in a place where we're in a very solid place where we work together as a team. It took a lot of hard conversations for us. It took a lot of work on myself. It took a lot of things. So I just want to share some of the insight that I have learned on this. It's like a fact that your relationship will go through a tough transition for each baby that you add. And it stays that way for a few years because it's such a big shift. But I don't want you to feel like it's like doomsday. Like, I remember people just being like, oh, you're not going to sleep when the baby comes. Oh, good luck having sex ever again. And we were just like, gross. Why is everybody telling us all this negative stuff? So I'm telling you all of this to be like, this could happen to you. But just know, you just have to be compassionate and graceful with each other. And you're going to get through it. And just keep going and keep leaning into each other and being a teammate with each other. It's just keeping the communication open and finding a system that works for you. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Don't worry about what anyone else has to say about what's the best thing to do. You need to figure that out for you and your family, and that's it. You might experience some tough times. That's normal. Lean in. You guys are teammates. This is why I'm going so deeply into mindset, because mindset is everything. That's my number one thing. Mindset around this. So many people focus on the mother because the mother is physically having the baby. Maybe she's breastfeeding. Maybe she's co-sleeping. I'm going to tell you a few things that will help you that I've learned, especially for your first baby. Biologically, moms are wired to wake up to their babies. Dads are wired to wake up to a noise outside of the house or a noise inside the house, like protection stuff. Where moms hear that baby crying, they immediately wake up. Dads do not, typically. And this is true for same sex. There's usually one person who's like more tuned into the baby and one person who's more tuned into like protection. You can resent your partner so much for not waking up. Like, you're kicking them, you're like, hello, I've already gone like 3 times to the baby. It's your turn. So no, biologically, one of you will wake up to them, the other will not. And one thing that someone told me was, one tired parent is better than 2. So for us, we co-slept and I breastfed. So dad didn't do anything all night long. And in the beginning I was like, wow, that must be super nice to not have to do that. But then I realized that co-sleeping and breastfeeding, and if you are interested in that, I have a podcast that talks about how to do it safely. I've got a lot of resources I'll put them in the description. I'll write that here. I have a podcast that talks about what happens to you biologically because your sleep cycles sync with your baby. You cannot take any like sleep aids. You cannot drink. You cannot smoke and co-sleep safely. Can't have big fluffy stuff on your bed. And I think even if you don't plan on co-sleeping, you should know how to do it safely, because inevitably your baby will end up in your bed sometimes because you're tired. So just having it set up, or know how to have it set up, because doing it in the couch is the least safe place that you can fall asleep with your baby. Anyway, I at first was like, okay, I'm feeding this baby all night. You're doing nothing. Like, this is so frustrating. And then I learned that biologically I wake up, and I learned that when I'm co-sleeping and breastfeeding, I don't even really remember how many times we wake up, and I just kind of do it and it works. And then in the morning, he woke up with the baby and he took the baby and I got to sleep in a little bit. awesome. The other thing that I really had to accept is it's not 50-50. If you decide to breastfeed, my babies did not take a bottle, and they preferred me. They still prefer me, like at 4, a lot of the times. But I'm with them a lot. I'm with them like all the time. I would get so frustrated. I just need a break. You need to go to your dad. Why can't your dad do this? Da, 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 da. And I had to realize again, he also didn't love that. He was like, what am I, chopped liver here? Like, what? I want to be involved. I want to help these children. I want to help you. I don't like seeing you stressed out like this. I want to be the one that can comfort them. And he had a hard time potting with our kids for like the first year because they were just like, they were just on me, breastfeeding, being carried, all the things. And I didn't realize that it was hard for him too, that I was the preferred parent. Your brain changes when you have a baby. So like the mom brain that happens is your brain turning off everything except for taking care of this baby, making sure that they are fed, making sure that they are comfortable, making sure that they are taken care of. Planning things or writing an email is really hard for your brain right now because it's like, hey, we're not focused on that. We need to make sure that this baby survives. And so this is like another pruning time. You go through it like in early adolescence, you go through it in puberty, and you go through it when you become a mom. Your brain clears out all the stuff that doesn't matter and literally changes. And it takes 18 months to 3 years to fully come into being a mom. And I can say that with a fact that it took me until my second. When my first was born, I felt like Shayla with a baby. Now I feel like a mom. I feel like the identity is completely taken over me, and I let it. Some people fight that, and I fought it for so long. The amount of responsibility and like lack of freedom and all of it that comes with that was so intense for me. And I just remember being resentful of my partner. I'd be like, must be nice to go to work. And he's like, are you serious? I'm not going on a vacation or a joyride or whatever. And I'm like, I know, but your brain gets to do something else. You are not in charge of taking care of this baby all day long. Like it felt like a vacation to be able to go to work. And he's like, Shay, I would much rather be here. I'm jealous that you get to spend so much time with our kids. And that again gave me another perspective where I was like, that is really nice. It is something that I had to learn to be grateful for because I was always like, what am I missing? I can't do anything because I have this kid that I have to take care of. What else am I missing? I'm missing out on like being able to go have coffee. But then I shifted my perspective, and instead of being like looking externally and thinking about how I was trapped at home and I couldn't get out and do anything, because that's really how I felt. I had a little bit of postpartum depression, I'm pretty sure. And I focused it inward and being like, I get to be here to witness all of these moments. I get to be here to know when you reference something, what show that came from or what book that came from. It's just such a cool thing to be so involved like that, to truly understand your kids. And I started to see it as that and be grateful for that. And if you're staying home with your kids, your life changes a lot. It's insane. The things that you used to just be able to do all day long, you have to get done in like an hour. You have to like calculate when you're going to get things done, if you're going to need help, how you're going to get help. When your partner gets home, you're like, thank God you're here. Here's the baby. And your partner's like, I've been gone all day. I just need to sit and relax for a second. And I have a friend who, they had a deal. Her partner, when he got home, had 1 hour to decompress. So got home at 5. He had till 6 to do whatever he wanted. And then it got passed over, like, now you take the baby, now I'm going to go do whatever I need to do. If they work shift work, the nights that they're home, they do bath time and you get to go relax because you're doing bath time every other day, or like whatever's going to work for you guys is great. Another thing that I realized was like, I would be like, okay, how does he not realize that we need to do laundry? How does he not realize that there's a pile of clothes that need to be folded? How does he not see the thing, like pick up the house, do the dishes, like, why don't you see any of these things? And then, I don't remember if it was in a book or what. It was like, he's looking at different things. And I say all these things, like, I think my husband's the most phenomenal man in the world. Like, I feel so grateful to be with him. And I have these feelings. So I think that it's normal. And I think that you just have to have grace with your partner and communicate these things. But where this was going was, I'm focused on like the laundry and the dishes and the cleanup and making sure they have lunch and like, did they eat a nice rounded meal or whatever. What I'm not looking at is if the lawn is mowed, is if our oil is changed. Other things that I'm unaware of that are on his radar. Mowing the lawn, never on my radar, ever. Watering the lawn, why do we need, it rains, we don't need to do that. So just kind of accepting what's on your radar is not necessarily on your partner's radar. And so either asking for help or accepting, like, these are kind of the things that I do and these are the things that he does. And it feels very like 50s housewife. And I felt like being a stay-at-home mom was a trap. I don't know if that's what was taught to us millennials. You're just going to stay at home with your kids. And I've learned how much of a blessing it is and it can be to be home with them all the time. And how important it is to embrace it instead of fight it. And be like, this is what I am choosing. How can I make this something that I really do love, that I really do enjoy? I talk about this all the time. Do I want to go outside? Then let's get outside. Do I want to do crafts? Then let's do crafts. Do I want to, like, Seth does like tag and water balloon fights and like races with cars in the backyard. I don't want to do that. I want to paint. I want to bake, go on walks. Like, everyone's going to be different for what they want. So you just have to figure that out so that you can do those things to make your motherhood experience exciting and good. Figuring out when is the best time to have productive conversations. For example, I feel like sometimes when Seth cooks a meal, he doesn't clean the pan. Why are you not cleaning the pan? Some people are like, he cooks, you clean. That's the deal. I'm like, well, I'm home by myself a lot, so I'm cooking and cleaning. So I expect him, when he cooks, to clean. I don't want to clean his pan. And I like get this resentment in my head. And I'm not grateful that he made dinner. One day he literally cleaned the entire house except for the freaking pan. What did I say to him? Why didn't you clean the pan? And you could just see everything deflate from him. And he was like, I just cleaned the whole house. Like, I thought you'd be so excited. Ugh. Poor timing. Like, and there's no coming back from this. I'm reading a book right now about rewiring your happiness. And it's like when something good happens, like when you're just enjoying looking at your kids, watching them play together or something, soaking that in for 10 seconds, like really sitting with it and being like, whoa, this is cool. Or like your partner. You're looking at your partner playing with your kids and you're just like, I'm so lucky and grateful to be with you, and sitting with it for 10 seconds instead of just like letting it fleet. Our brains are wired to find the bad things. The good things are great, they keep us alive, but the bad things we can die. Like, I'm talking in caveman things. Same thing happens. Your husband cleans the entire house, but not the pan. I'm gonna focus on the negative thing. So the more time you spend focusing on the positive thing, the clean house, the more you train your brain to look for the positive things. And then social media is the devil when it comes to motherhood. Okay, I'm editing this video. I do this sometimes and I think of something else. I'm like, that needs to be said. When you watch social media and you're like, wow, I wish my husband did what that dad did. Like for me, for a long time, it was like, wow, must be nice that they can wake up on Sunday morning and make them pancakes, because we do shift work and my husband cannot wake up to do pancakes on Sunday morning. And it would just get me real riled up and upset and just like resentful. And then I had to remember, but because of his shift work, we get to go to the zoo as a family on a Tuesday when it's dead. We get to go to the mall. We get to go do all these things like during the day, during normal hours, and like hang out together. And other families don't get to do that. When you're watching social media, don't compare yourself or your spouse or your family situation to someone else's without also acknowledging the great parts of your life. Really thinking about like how much that matters, because my husband will make breakfast for dinner. And like he does that not because I'm like, why aren't we doing Sunday morning breakfasts? But because he likes doing breakfast for dinner. So I just want to put that out there to challenge you to not use social media to compare. I just did it. I saw this new couple and dad's got the baby in his lap and he's reading to the baby. And I'm like, this is adorable. I don't know if Seth ever did that. But Seth did so many other things that I thought were adorable. And so depending on the accounts you're following. So I would say do a good audit of your accounts. If you're following accounts that are constantly talking negatively about motherhood, I would consider unfollowing them. Sometimes it's good to have like that solidarity of like, yeah, this is hard, but sometimes it puts you just in this like negative mindset. So there's a lot of accounts now that are talking about like the good parts of motherhood, and you might not agree with all of them, but at least it puts you in more of a headspace to look for the good instead of focus on the bad. It's like I follow a ton of accounts for like toddler activities. I don't think I've done any of them. I want to, but I just don't. So I just started unfollowing them because it made me feel bad that I wasn't doing them. But we were getting outside, which is what I wanted to do. So really thinking about how you want everything to feel and thinking about how you want your relationship to feel. Do you want your husband to come home and walk into like this, my husband has walked into this so many times where I'm just like grumpy. Most of the time when he's home, I'm in that grumpy mood because I'm like, you're here now. You can do the things. I don't want to do anything. And when he's not here, I'm not in that grumpy mood because I know that I can't be, because I know that I have to just keep it on because I'm by myself. And so he thinks that I'm just always just hating my life and just like in this rut, and it makes him feel like he's failing. And then I'm like, well, no, I'm not really, I like my life. I'm not really upset about anything. He's like, really? Because it seems like you really don't like it. And I'm like, no, why do you feel that way? And so I've had to journal a lot about how I feel about my life, basically, and how I want him to come home to like a welcoming, hello, how was work? I'm so glad you're here, instead of like, hey, what are we going to do for dinner? So I really had to work on my energy around him. So just acknowledging that like, this is hard for you, but this is also hard for him because he cares about you. He loves you. He wants you to have a good time. And if you are not having a good time, that's not fun for him either. He's also experiencing a major life shift. Like Seth rarely goes out and does things. He'll go golfing occasionally. He'll go get a haircut occasionally. He works out pretty much every day. And that's good for him and us and everyone. But it's not like he's going out to the bars. He games. And that's kind of how he like hangs out with his friends. I don't have any of that. Like, what would I even do with free time? I don't know. And then I get resentful of him for having things that he does. That's not on him, that's on me. I guess the main thing I want to say is think about how you want your relationship to feel. Be very open and communicate with your partner about the things that you need, and ask them the things that they need. Because especially when babies come, everyone's focus is on mom. And fair. She's done a lot of freaking work, but dad's life has also changed drastically. He's now supposed to support you and the baby, where your focus is mostly supporting the baby. And you're like, yeah, you should be supporting me. But like, somebody needs to support dad too. If you are in need of some mindset work, I have this flip book, but I also have an ebook coming to help you just with your mindset in general and just like getting it in the right spot. So I hope you like this video. You lean into each other, you watch it. Maybe your partner watches it so that you're a little bit prepared for like, oh yeah, I could see where there could be some challenging parts like this. I also always love to hear from you. So if you have any tips for like partner resentment or mindset shifts that you had to make to be in a better place with your partner, please share them in the comments so that we can all kind of learn from them and take pieces of what worked. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.